I
And
love it because you always put EFL Talks nice and big on your page. Grazzia, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you? Can
I'm
you hear me well? Yeah.
hear you perfectly.
Thank
Um,
you.
I have to say, I was I just put up all the recordings from all the previous EFL Talks, and I was watching the recording from the 5th anniversary, and it was really nice actually hearing what you, Enrique, and Elizabeth said, because I didn't hear anything. And you're a great supporter of EFL Talks, and it's wonderful to have you here. So
Thank you. I am happy to be here. So, am I ready to start?
you're ready. I've got the timer ready, and take it
Perfect.
away.
Perfect. Thank you. So, good morning from my side of the world, and good afternoon and good evening. So, first, I want to say thank you to KSAALT, TESOL for the invitation. Thank you to Hind for reaching out to me. And of course, thank you to Rob for always being a partner in this type of events. It is always a great experience to be part of EFL Talks and all these wonderful things that Rob is doing. Uh, I will not tell you right now about myself because as we move along the presentation, you're going to learn a lot about me and what I do. And I wanted to focus my presentation on what happened in our country. And I want to geographically locate you in where we are. So this is Honduras to the right in that map over there. And if you see, we're located in the American continent, also known as the Americas. And we are divided for some reason into different parts. So sometimes it's North America and Latin America. Sometimes we are called North America, Central America, and South America. And if you see, Honduras is located in the center, and I like to call that the heart of the continent. So this is my beautiful country, Honduras. We are divided into 18 departments, and there are many things to do and enjoy. So when you have the opportunity, make sure you come down and visit. So lockdown and what happened to us here in Honduras and what happened to me and my life during lockdown. So March 13 marked the lockdown and everything closed. Businesses were closed and all schools and universities. Mobility was restricted at the beginning to once a week, then to once every 2 weeks, and telework happened. And everything started happening from home. Some people were able to adapt very quickly. Some people were not able to adapt. And some people followed very strictly the lockdown. I was one of them. But other people couldn't because they needed to go out and work. Many people lost their jobs and many people had to go through many difficult things. To date, we have been in lockdown for 9 months. So it has been quite an experience and something interesting that, of course, worldwide we had to adapt, and Honduras was not the difference. And what was more critical about lockdown is that everybody was together at home, right? And we had to look for spaces where to work from, study from, everybody together 24/7, which is not what usually our lives are about, right? So what happened to me? Well, in my day job, I work for the US government at the mission here in USA Honduras. And what we do and what I do in the education office, I am an education specialist. And what we do is we support the Ministry of Education to build capacity and make sure that we have strong programs for the public schools. And that is a process that we have been working on for several years. Now, with the lockdown and with the pandemic, we had to, as everybody else, go into the virtual context. And this was not an easy task for us because, yes, virtual makes it easy to connect and engage with people if you have the technology available. But what we noticed, and we already knew, sorry, that in our country there were a ton of inequities. But with the pandemic, we saw those inequities heightened. And even though we created and we pivoted in 1 week to create a lot of visual and virtual material to be hosted in platforms, internet, and the social media, we saw that we had a number of students that were not getting access to this. So we quickly had to resort to leveraging funding from the private sector and ensuring that they helped us disseminate the learning materials. And we got the materials for learning in television and in radio, because there were many rural areas in our country where internet or the virtual platforms were not available. But radio and television were not enough, because we still had people in very rural areas, very far away communities, that did not have access to TV or radio. And this meant that we had to create printed materials for them. And also, we needed to make sure that we were delivering not only the materials, but also the school meals, because children were not going to school anymore. And the school meals were usually delivered during the school day. So we had to take the school meals and the printed materials for children to continue learning and to continue to be nourished. While the academic part is really something important, we also needed to think that because people were at home all the time, we needed to take care of this social and emotional learning. We needed to make sure that we were taking care of preventing violence at homes. We usually work in very gang dominated areas and neighborhoods. So we needed to make sure that we were addressing gender based violence or domestic violence at home. And we focused also on those areas and did many things and many interventions to make sure that we were taking care of people while we were focusing on the academics for students. But also, we needed to make our population aware of the biosafety protocols that they need to follow. So we needed to create instructions and protocols and ways in which to teach people that we needed to prevent this virus and we needed to prevent the disease. So there was a lot of work involved in what we were doing, and we were trying to reach out all of those communities where we work at. It was and it has been a very difficult job, and we still are not reaching 100% of the people. Recent assessment that we did, we have found out that we still have around 600,000 students that have either been intermittently engaged with learning or completely disconnected. So we are still doing a lot of work and continue to support the Ministry of Education in these actions. When it comes to my volunteer work with the local affiliate that I founded back in 2014, I am now only their advisor. The board came to me and asked me, what should we do? We are now in this virtual context. We had all these events planned for face-to-face, and we are not going to be able to develop them. What do we do? So we started to brainstorm, and we decided that there was a lot of information out there, and we could overwhelm our teachers, who were already overwhelmed with everything that they needed to do and all the guidelines from the Ministry of Education. What do we do? So we decided that it was right now a good moment to create a needs assessment and to make sure that we understood what the teachers really needed. In this needs assessment, what we found is that teachers did not really need at this time the online sessions, or that we transformed our face-to-face event to a virtual session, but they needed one-to-one contact, and they needed to be empowered into now being virtual teachers, or how to best address the needs of the students they were working with. So we started working with the regional coordinators, and we started helping them by and in different ways, by creating sessions for them, one-on-one sessions, lessons that we could share with them. And we also decided that it was a good opportunity to share what was being shared all over the world. We also got requests from the region, from Central America, and we thought that it would be a good opportunity to help the region, not only help our country, but help others that were asking for things from us. And we applied to different grants, and the grants, fortunately, we got them. And the grants have been oriented to addressing the needs of teachers in Honduras, proficiency skills for teachers in public schools who are teaching primary, and also building leadership in Central America. And then my other volunteer work, working with TESOL International, well, we had to engage a little bit more often than we had planned. We had meetings at the beginning twice every month because we needed to make hard decisions. And I also had commitments with affiliates in different parts of the world that had already been done before. So I had to deliver those sessions that I had committed to, and I had to do it in a virtual setting. So that meant not only I had to comply with what I had promised, but I also had to adapt what I had thought about before to a virtual context. So that meant I had to start all over again. And well, you know, as educators, we wear many hats, right? We always are doing different things, and we have all these responsibilities. And I am known to wear too many hats. And my husband will often say, are you ever going to stop? Will you ever stop doing so many things? And I think about it for like 2 minutes, and then I start doing too many things again. So this brings an additional level of stress, right? So we are in lockdown, everybody's at home, we're doing everything from home. But I felt so comfortable at home. I had so much time in my hands that I started booking too many things. And this created the stress monster, right? My thyroid had been okay for the last 2 years. It suddenly crashed, and I started getting a little bit sick. And I said, okay, now I need to stop myself. And I need to make sure that I remember what I have learned about and read about self care, and make sure that I'm taking care of me. And yes, I need to support others, but I also need to make sure that I am supporting myself. So I had to take those 2 steps back and think about it. And I know Rob already turned on his camera, but I want to say that whenever you are in a situation like this, make sure you look at silver linings, right? Make sure that you understand that a situation like this allows you to grow professionally, to learn new skills, to support others in the process, and to make sure you advance your career and you continue to progress in your life. So thank you for the opportunity to share my lockdown experience.